Welcome to The Explainer. All right, let's just dive right in. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating and honestly kind of terrifying hidden vulnerability that's probably lurking inside countless enterprise networks right this second. We're using the detailed findings from RFC 7123, which is a major document from the Internet Engineering Task Force, to break down exactly how Internet protocol transitions are silently punching holes in network security. So, I want you to ask yourself, is your perfectly secure IPv4 network secretly leaking data through invisible IPv6 tunnels? I mean, just imagine spending millions of dollars building this impenetrable fortress, right? Walls, moats, guards, the whole shebang. But what if your own internal systems were quietly digging tunnels right under those walls, totally bypassing your security? Because, well, that's exactly the high-stakes reality we're exploring today.
Here's the roadmap for how we're going to uncover and, more importantly, neutralize this threat. We'll start with the shift from IPv4 to IPv6. Then we'll look at the invisible tunnel threat itself, how these tunnels completely bypass security controls, who the absolute worst offenders are, and finally, we'll wrap up with how you can actually seal up those network leaks.
All right, moving to part 1, the enterprise dilemma of the IPv4 to IPv6 shift.
So, we've got this massive disconnect in modern IT right now. You know how it is. A lot of enterprise network admins have consciously decided, hey, we're keeping our infrastructure strictly IPv4 only. And that makes sense. That's what their insanely expensive firewalls and intrusion detection systems are optimized for. But here's the catch. The devices actually sitting inside that network, the Windows machines, the Macs, the Linux servers, they're already living in the future. Pretty much every modern general-purpose operating system ships with native IPv6 support turned on by default. So you essentially have a fortress built exclusively for an older language, but all the citizens living inside are just itching to speak a new one. And this fundamental mismatch, it's literally the perfect storm for a security nightmare.
Which brings us right to Section 2, the invisible tunnel threat and these unwitting bridges.
Okay, so to bridge this protocol gap, technologists came up with workarounds known as tunneling mechanisms. Think of it like this. This transition tech takes an IPv6 packet, stuffs it securely inside a standard IP4 packet, and sends it on its merry way. It was meant to be helpful, letting isolated IPv6 devices talk across an older IP4 internet. But if we look at this from a security perspective, wow, it's basically the ultimate Trojan horse. You are literally wrapping foreign, unmonitored traffic inside a seemingly normal, trusted package.
And the danger actually multiplies when we start talking about automatic tunneling mechanisms. According to the RFC documents, protocols like Corrido or ISATAP can just automatically activate to try and hunt down an IPv6 connection to the outside world. They don't ask the user for permission, they sure don't ask the network admin for consent. They just silently spin up in the background and start building these invisible bridges right out of your highly secure local network.
Let's move into Section 3 and look at the real damage here. How this Trojan horse bypasses network security controls.
Honestly, this scenario right here is what keeps security professionals up at night. On one hand, your state-of-the-art IPv4 firewall sees a standard, totally boring IPv4 packet passing by. It checks the basic headers, says, "Yep, looks fine to me," and just waves it right through. But on the flip side, what's actually happening is that inside that boring package is a fully functioning IPv6 payload. If a bad actor is using that payload to communicate with malware on an internal host, your IPv4 security tools, they're completely oblivious. They have no idea it's even happening. The security fallout from this blind spot is just massive. First off, your network intrusion detection systems, your NIDS, they might be perfectly calibrated to spot an attack in IPv4, but they are totally blind to that exact same attack pattern when it's tunneled. Second, your carefully crafted firewall policies, they completely failed to apply to that hidden IPv6 traffic. Third, and this is a really big one, internal hosts with supposedly limited connectivity suddenly gain unexpected global reachability. Meaning pretty much anyone on the IPv6 internet might be able to reach your internal device. And finally, dual-stacked hosts, devices running both protocols, can actually leak highly sensitive VPN traffic outside the encrypted tunnel if the VPN software isn't explicitly configured to handle IPv6. It's basically a cascading failure of network defense.
So, moving to Section 4, let's identify the absolute worst offenders here. We're looking at Corrido, ISAP, and 6-4.
Now, while there are a bunch of tunneling protocols out there, Corrido gets called out in the source material as a particularly alarming prime suspect. Corrido was specifically engineered to act as a technology of last resort. And what does that actually mean?
It means it is quite literally designed to traverse Network Address Port Translation, or NAPT devices. For a lot of enterprise networks, NAPT provides a minimum baseline of security by just blocking incoming connections that weren't initiated from the inside. But Teredo is built to punch a hole right through that protection. It allows incoming IPv6 connections straight through the firewall right to your internal machines. No questions asked.
Let's break down how Teredo actually pulls off this heist. First, an internal client quietly reaches out and contacts an external Teredo server using UDP port 3544. Next, it takes its IPv6 packets and encapsulates them right inside standard IPv4 UDP datagrams. And finally, because UDP traffic is, notoriously difficult for legacy firewalls to statefully inspect, the smuggled traffic just cruises right past standard IPv4 checks. The firewall just sees a UDP stream. It has absolutely no clue it's actually an interactive IPv6 session.
Which brings us to our final and definitely most important section, Section 5, sealing those network leaks using a default deny policy.
So how do we actually fix this mess? Well, the research is crystal clear. The only truly robust solution for an IPv4-only enterprise is a strict default deny policy. You can't just rely on playing whack-a-mole here. You absolutely must explicitly block all IPv6 transition traffic by default at the perimeter of your network. But perimeter defense isn't enough on its own. Best practices dictate that you've got to go into your internal network and actively disable these automatic transition mechanisms right on the local nodes themselves. You literally have to turn off Teredo and ISATAP at the operating system level across your entire fleet.
And to actually enforce this at the firewall, the RFC hands us the exact Layer 3 filtering rules. For technologies like 6.4, 6.4, and ISATAP, you need to configure your firewall to drop all IPv4 packets that have the IP protocol field set to 41. Protocol 41 literally just means IPv6 encapsulation. For Teredo, like we just talked about, you've got to block outbound traffic destined for UDP port 3544. For tunnel broker systems using TSP, you want to block UDP and TCP destination port 3653. And for a pretty popular tool called AGIA, block UDP and TCP port 5072. Putting these specific blocks in place will seal off the most common unauthorized escape routes for sure.
But you don't have to stop there. You can also take the fight upstream to stop devices from even trying to establish these broken tunnels in the first place. For instance, you can configure your local recursive DNS servers to either silently ignore AAA queries, which, by the way, are the DNS requests specifically looking for IPv6 addresses, or just have them respond with a no error. You can also filter these AAA records right at the network ingress point. Think about it. If your local machines only ever receive IPv4 DNS responses, they're way less likely to try and spin up an unauthorized IPv6 tunnel. Oh, and finally, when you do block this traffic, it's considered really good practice to send an ICMP-v6 error message back to the device. That way, the device actually realizes the connection is closed and immediately falls back to IPv4 rather than just hanging there and causing a terrible user experience.
We've covered a ton of highly technical ground in this explainer today, but I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative thought. If your enterprise is still firmly clinging to an IPv4-only mindset without actually accounting for these invisible transition mechanisms, you're essentially leaving the back door wide open. So ask yourself, are you relying on a firewall that only speaks half the language of the modern internet? Because if your security tools are ignoring IPv6, they aren't actually securing your network. They're just giving you a false sense of security. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, I highly encourage you to go check those firewall rules right now.